Tonight, oil poached black cod with a tomato compote. So let's get the tomato compote out of the way first. And what I decided to do is we're going to take this in a Southeast Asian direction. So I've got some olive oil here, and I'm going to put in a cup, about a cup of blanched, peeled, seeded, and chopped plum tomatoes. It's 2 tomatoes. It turned out to be a little bit less than a cup. There we go. We put that in the oil. Got that sizzling away. So now what we're going to add to that is a medium garlic clove that is all smashed and minced up, half of a teaspoon of ginger from a tube. I'll get to the tube. This is going to be a teaspoon of lemongrass from a tube, and 2 teaspoons of tomato paste from a tube. Don't worry, I'll get to the tube. We have a tablespoon of chopped basil, what do we got here? This is a half of a tablespoon of fish sauce, and an ounce of white wine, and 1 small Thai chili pepper. Okay. What's going to happen with this, I have to reduce this. I'm going to cook it down until it's thick, and then we'll taste it and we'll correct the seasoning. So I'll be back once this has reduced down. All right, so now I've got this, you can see it's really cooking down, it's getting quite thick, and I'm going to, kind of break up the tomato. I want to make sure that I've got this nice sort of thick tomato pasty kind of thing. So I'm going to keep doing that, but I promised you I was going to tell you about the tubes. Well, here they are. Okay, so this is really convenient stuff. So here's, for example, this is ginger, and this ginger is already prepared and ground up, and it's in a tube, and I've got this lemongrass that's in a tube, and I've got this tomato paste that's in a tube. So it's really kind of convenient. You can get this stuff at most markets these days. A lot of them have these international sections. So, that stuff's really convenient to use. You do have to be a little careful. One of the reasons I didn't add any salt to this is because, for example, these things tend to have salt added. So I put the fish sauce in, and I didn't want to add any more salt until I could cook this down and really taste it. So I've been kind of mashing on it. You can see it's very thick. It's a nice compote. Now I'm going to taste. So do I need to add anything to that? Spice is good. Boy, that chili's nice. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I don't want to add any more fish sauce. I've got the fish sauce flavor, and although that's a salty thing that can increase the salt content and make it taste good, it also adds a little bit of a kind of a funky flavor. So we've got that done now. That's ready to go. We're going to put this aside. A little bit later we'll come back and we'll actually make the oil poached cod. So now we're going to start doing the actual olive oil poaching. Now, olive oil poaching gives you a moist, flaky fish. It does not result in a greasy fish, but definitely you don't want to use the good stuff. You just put just no extra virgin. You're just going to want the standard sort of pure olive oil stuff. So the question is, how much oil? Well, you want to use the smallest pan that will fit the fish. And the best way to do it is simply you measure the tallest part of the fish. Like here, just measure what this is, which is the tallest part of the fish, and you put about that much oil in the pan, about that height. It's because when you add the fish, it's going to displace some of the oil, and then the fish is going to get covered. So I've started heating the oil. I'm going to put in some tarragon and some thyme to flavor that a little bit. And I'm going to heat the oil to between 180 and 190 degrees. And I've seen people go as low as 125. I just prefer the higher temperature. Some people also, instead of doing it on the stove, they'll do it in the oven. They'll set the oven temperature 250 or something like that and use that to make it a little easier on them. I prefer the stovetop method and paying attention to what the temperature is. But remember, if it goes above 212, you're frying, right? That's when water boils. If it starts to go above 212, you're frying, you're not poaching. So 180 to 190, I've started heating this up, and we're going to come back, and as soon as when it gets to temperature, we'll put the fish in. Okay, so the oil's heated up. It's just approaching about 190 degrees because when I put the fish in, the temperature is going to drop a bit. The only thing I'm going to do with the fish is season it with some salt and some white pepper. Now, if I didn't have a topping, I made that compote earlier. If I didn't have a topping, then I would probably season it with some more stuff. But in this case, since I have the topping, I'm just going to put a goodly amount of salt and white pepper on it, and I'm going to stick it in the oil. And it should take, probably 15 or 20 minutes. I will monitor the temperature of the oil to make sure it stays up between 180 and 190. Like I said, 15 or 20 minutes, but you can always just check the temperature with the thermometer, and you're going to aim for 145 degrees. So that's just going to sit in there, and I'll be back when it's ready. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, and these are now cooked, so I can lift them right out. You can see they just want to fall apart. I mean, they just want to fall apart. And I'm putting them in here. I'm going to let them drain a little bit. Like I said, they won't be greasy. I'm going to let them drain though. And the other thing is you can see that some of the bones in here, in this particular piece, this fish has these bones, and now they've started to pop out. So I can actually yank these out of here in both of them. So I'll be working on finding that for a minute. And we're going to let this drain a little bit, and then I'm going to plate them up. Okay, so the oil's drained off these a little bit. They're looking beautiful. They're looking flaky. I'm going to put one right here on this plate. And then I've got this really nice tomato compote, Southeast Asian style. And I made enough. I wanted to put it on the fish. And I also wanted to put some on the jasmine rice because I think it'll go nicely with that too. Now I'm going to let Donna give it a taste. Oh.
Little piece of fish. Super moist, flaky, fall aparty.
Greasy though? Is it greasy?
No,
See,
it doesn't retain any of the grease at all.
Yeah, it doesn't really soak in. It just gives it a nice flavor, picks up the flavor of the herbs that I put in it. Okay.
And that tomato has a kick to it.
Yeah, that was the Thai pepper. I said Southeast Asian, and I got a lot of the Southeast Asian flavors in it. So you like it?
Oh, yes.
All righty. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Again, give it a try. Oil poached fish. You can do other kinds of fish too. You can use halibut. You can do salmon. So have fun with it. I'll see you next time.